I was going for a drive, and on the way here to my location, there was a car in front of me that had the bumper sticker, and it stated, "Think, pray, vote." And I was thinking to myself, that would be a good video. And I'm going to dissect it into 3 different sections. See, many of us don't even know how to think properly. We're just going with what society is telling us, what the media shows to us, and what people close to us are doing. Many of us are scared of failure, scared to carve our own path and then go down it. So what we think is based upon what other people place on us, whether it be through our environment, whether it be our timeline, or whether it be what we hear or what we see in a book. Nobody really has the conscious, I won't say nobody. A lot of us don't have the conscious to think for ourselves, to know what's real and what's false, to know who's lying and to know who's telling the truth. Many of us don't have the discernment to separate the falsehood from the reality. And then I did a video on prayer yesterday. So this is almost of a sign. This is a flow that I'm going into, and the universe is sending me signals to bless y'all with through these videos. So when we think about thinking, when we start looking at the aspect of thinking comes from our experiences, from what we read, and just how we develop as an adult from childhood into adulthood. We have different thought processes that we picked up on from our parents, from our teachers, and from other even teachers on YouTube, or how we gather and process information. Some people process information by going by majority rule, when in reality, there's never been a time, I won't say never, but most of the time, when you're following the crowd, you're following the majority, it is not a good thing. We could look at it from the past 3 years, past 2.5 years with the jab and the inoculations. Most people got pressured. There's few people who actually wanted to get the jab. And a lot of people fold, although they didn't want to, but their job was on the line, their career was on the line, their basketball contract, football contract, baseball contract was on the line. So they felt like their back was against the wall, and they ended up getting, jabbed up. But you could see how this played out over the past 2-3 years. They're talking about it's for herd immunity, XYZ. But all of this is just putting fear into the public eye to make you not be able to think straight. Everything around this on this plane is sent for us to be a distraction, for us to not think straight. So unless you're out in the nature, unless you're detaching yourself from mainstream society, and unless you have a social friend group that has a soul, that has conscience, and is working to better themselves in the world, then most likely you're caught up in this loop, this matrix of not being able to think for yourself, or you have the wrong ideas, wrong downloads embedded inside your head. And when these ideas are embedded inside your head, you have a subconscious mind that controls you into doing behaviors that do not benefit you, such as getting the stab, maybe even going to a college that's not for you, and you end up being in debt with no education, whether it be being peer pressured into doing certain drugs. Many people are being pulled by society instead of having their mind pull them into where they need to go. You have to have your thought and a clear conscious of who you are and where you want to go in order to have success on this life. We can't measure our success based off what other people tell us success is, or based what our parents want us to do. The success has to come from within. What's successful to you can be a failure to others. And I use this example of Tyler, the Creator. There's this old video, let's say probably like 5-6 years ago, and maybe even longer. And he was in a Lamborghini crying because he heard his song on the radio for the first time. Some people's goals are just to get that Lamborghini. Some people's goals are just to get that money. But in that video, it was evident to me that his goal was to have his music played on the radio, to reach to a wide range of audiences. So when we think and take a step back of what we really value, what life really is, what life is really about, who am I, and what I was sent here to do, then you free up your mind of that extra waste, that extra space you have in your brain of nonsense. And it frees you up into downloading more information that would be beneficial to you. Who cares if it's controversial? Who cares if nobody likes it? Usually things that benefit you, people around you, even those close to you, will not like it. And you have to put these into your thought processes in order to move forward. Because if you're still moving with the crowd, you could only go as fast as the crowd goes. But when you make certain intentions, certain goals for yourself, you could go as fast as how you want to go. Don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the media. Follow your thoughts. Follow your heart. Follow your creativity. That will take you further than what Tony Fauci is telling you to do. That'll take you further than what Joe Biden will tell you to do. That'll take you further than Netanyahu, what he will tell you to do. Any leader is just a puppet. There's very few leaders that are actually leading their country, and if they do, they're getting prosecuted. They're getting thrown in jail. They're being cut off. 5 African presidents got deleted because they didn't want the jabs on their people. And the mainstream media will tell you it's a coincidence. When you go against the grain and you think outside the box, you get outside the box like, yo, that's not me. I'm not part of this, and I'm not taking part of it. You can't put my back against the wall. You can't bully me. That's when you start seeing the snakes come out the grass. That's when you start seeing the enemies attacking. They no longer in camouflage. They no longer taking cover. They coming at you on sight, because once you step out the box publicly and you have a wide influence and you change other people's minds and putting programs into their mind to think differently than the majority, you become dangerous. You become a target. So this is why you must not only have to think outside the box and think for yourself to feed others in yourself, but when you go with the crowd, no matter what crowd you're in, Democrat, Republican, alphabet community, Confederate, whatever, it's all a ploy to keep you watered down and not think on a grand scale of thing. You're thinking subjectively, which is what they want, while there's a small group of people that control this population and the money, and they see this world objectively, not subjectively. They conquering each aspect of society with a plan, with strategy and execution. And you could do the same for yourself. Once you start living out your purpose, you'll attract your tribe. Your secret society will come to you. And then you could force your will, their will onto the world instead of having a will forced onto you. So if you enjoyed this video, like, share, comment, subscribe. And until next time, you guys be well.